Do dogs go to heaven? My dog recently died. He was my loyal companion for many years, even more loyal than some of my friends. I was wondering, what happens to animals after they die? Do dogs go to heaven? The short answer, if you're asking whether there is some sort of dog heaven in which there are cute puppies running around a special section of paradise, then although I hate to be the one to disappoint you, the answer is no. However, if you mean heaven in the broader celestial sense, then yes. The slightly longer answer, the philosophical debate. The question of whether animals go to heaven has been debated throughout the centuries. The Midrash states unequivocally that animals don't have a portion in the world to come, but that has not stopped some of the greatest Jewish philosophers from debating whether the concept of reward and punishment, and by extension the afterlife, applies to animals. For example, Rabbi Saadia Gaon, in his famous philosophical work, Sefer Emunot V'Deot, the Book of Beliefs and Opinions, writes that an animal is ultimately compensated for all the pain it went through in life and death. This idea is in line with the statement in the Talmud that the Holy One, blessed be He, does not deprive any creature of any reward due to it. Although an animal's reward is different than what a person would receive for doing a good deed out of free will. The fact that Rabbi Saadia Gaon held that this applies even to an animal going through a painful death suggests that the animal will continue to exist even after death. On the other hand, Maimonides is of the opinion that the concept of reward and punishment applies to man alone. The Kabbalistic response. The question of whether animals are rewarded and have immortal souls is important, as it does not only give man perspective and meaning in his interactions with the rest of God's creations, but explains in part man's purpose in this world. In a long and fascinating letter, the fourth Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Shmuel, known as the Rebbe Maharash, explains that although some Kabbalists were of the opinion that animals don't have immortal souls, according to the teachings of the Arizal, animals do in fact have independent souls and they do go to heaven. The Arizal is generally considered the final arbiter for all Kabbalistic teachings. The Arizal explains that every created entity possesses a soul. This includes everything from rocks and other inanimate objects to animals and of course people. This soul or spark of godliness not only sustains the creation existence, but it imbues the creation with its purpose and significance in the world. Different souls. But if every creation has a spark of God, in what way does the soul of a person and that of an animal differ? God created the world, including the souls of animals, through speech. It is only regarding a person's soul that the verse states He breathed into his nostrils the soul of life, and man became a living soul. The Kabbalists explain that when one speaks, he uses a relatively superficial level of breath, but when one blows, he blows from deep within him. So too, man's soul comes from the very essence of the divine. Interactive souls. When God created the world, He invested in man the power to elevate the divine sparks or souls that are found throughout creation. It is for this reason that, in general, the way an animal's soul is elevated and returned after its death to its divine source is through its positive and spiritual interactions with man. So, for instance, we can elevate the soul of a kosher animal by making a proper blessing when eating, and by using the energy gained for acts of goodness and righteousness. However, unlike a person's afterlife in which the soul basks and delights in God's glory, in the Garden of Eden the animal's soul returned to its source. the supernal world of Tohu in an elevated state. In the end, while they are different from humans, animals too have souls that live on and can be elevated. This idea presents us with an enormous responsibility in our interactions with the animal kingdom. After all, the animal's elevation in the afterlife can be dependent upon our positive interactions with it.